Hello and a warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. West Bengal is tense because of the protests over the Waqf law. That is what has plagued the state right now. Now, what has happened on Murshidabad has been tense since April 8th as protests against the recently enacted Waqf Act turned violent as protesters clashed with the police. On Friday, some fresh violence broke out during the protests against a new law, and three people have reportedly been killed by a frenzied mob during the unrest, which continued on Saturday. And over 110 people have been arrested so far, with police raids continuing across multiple locations. And the situation is actually so serious that the Calcutta High Court had to step in. And this was after hearing Shuvendu Adhikari's plea. And the Calcutta High Court has ordered the deployment of central forces in Murshidabad district. And what has the court actually said? Court has said that my sincere appeal to all religions, please remain calm, remain restrained, do not engage in any irreligious behavior in the name of religion. Every human life is precious, do not incite riots for the sake of politics. And of course, the court has categorically asked for a report from both sides, that is the state government as well as the central government. So, why is West Bengal tense because of the Waqf Amendment Bill? Mamata Banerjee has categorically said that she will not allow the implementation of this particular law. Now, is it some kind of a diversionary tactics as well? Because we saw the teachers' camp playing out. There were several teachers who were protesting on the streets, and it had not resulted in anything very concrete. And and if actually protests are happening in West Bengal over the Waqf law, who is benefiting? Is it like a fixed match between BJP and Trinamool? We try and look at all those angles. Joining me now is lawyer Arindam Das. Thank you so much, Arindam, for joining. We have Prasanjit Biswas, who's the professor of the Northeast Hill University. Thank you so much, Prasanjit. And I'll begin with Arindam. Arindam, what do you really have to say over these protests, which have unfolded in an ugly manner with three people dying over these protests in Murshidabad? Why do you think this Murshidabad area and all these adjoining districts of Malda, then 24 Parganas, and of course this BJP MP now saying that these four districts should be declared as a disturbed area, and he's called for the implementation of the AFSPA. How far is, I mean, do you think that the demand is justified? What is really happening?
Basically, good evening, all the viewers. Basically, I also belong from Murshidabad. That's my native district. So technically, I am well aware of the facts and figure of the district. We have seen the same in the CA as well. The basic problem is the understanding of the act, because really the government, what I find, should step up. Other than giving political statement, they should have a knowledge. They should educate the common mass about the act. What was the act and what is the difference? Because if you question the thousand mobs over there, no one will be able to answer you. What is the new act about? What are the changes about? Because we all know and we should appreciate the fact that once an act has been enacted by the parliament, the consent has been received by the president, the matter is now before the Supreme Court. No one can dispute that. So only the possible legal way to resolve the issue is by the intervention of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is yet to take that. But that message is not being clearly given to the masses of Murshidabad or the adjacent district. Because I have seen, I have my family still lives in Murshidabad. My parents lives over there, so I'm well aware of the fact. Because the common masses, there is a definitely Murshidabad is a backward district of the state. We have a lack of educational infrastructure. But what I suppose the government, now what they're doing is after an incident had happened, three persons has died officially. Now they're coming up and saying to restore the peace. But to restore the peace, what you need is gaining the confidence of the public. You have to come with a experts. The legal experts should be there. We have everything in setup. We have the district courts over there. We have the advocates over there. We have the NGOs over there who work with the public. So you have to come up and say, because if the government is issuing a statement that we are not going to allow this act to enact or activate in the state of West Bengal, that how much is true, we have to define that as well. But the common person should know that what is their right of protest and where they should protest. Now, what is happening is the common public are thinking, if you block the highway, if you block the railway track, If we burn them out, then we'll get justice. That is not the case. That is not possible. You have, because if I am a common man, the question which I have to put to myself is, you have to first answer it to me. Is it possible that if I block the highway for 100 days also the act will change? The answer is no. So that the government has to come and tell to the public, because there are MPs, MLAs, everyone is there. We have a tri structure. We have the panchayat, we have the pradhans, we have the councillors, we have the every setup is there. Only the police cannot do anything. So what I find, what is important and what the problem is, I have seen the same thing in the CA in my district. The same problem was there. It was burning. Today is also burning. What I find is the government. Once you are in the government seat, you cannot discriminate between you are a central government or a state government. The law and order is your duty. The protection of the citizen, your duty bound.
What do you feel that both sides, whether it is the center, whether it is the state government, both are politically trying to make a mileage out of this current situation, which is evolving in Murshidabad?
See, definitely, whenever a situation or crisis comes in, somewhat the other tries to take advantage of it. So, being a common citizen, not affiliated to any political ideologies, the common people are suffering. So, what I have stated earlier, also, I want to reiterate
You
that
are a
only.
resident. No, Arindam, you are a resident of Murshidabad, but you are also a lawyer. Legally, how do you see this? Because there are Supreme Court, there are the petitions
That,
pending in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is going to
that
take up the matter on 16th of April. And just before that, if Murshidabad becomes so tense like this, what would you really say as a lawyer?
That's what I'm saying, because as I'm practicing law in Calcutta High Court, what I feel is the public, or the general public rather, should have a knowledge. The government should come up with this statement that if you are blocking the national highway, if you're blocking the railway track, nothing will resolve. The only option is the Supreme Court, where multiple petitions have been filed challenging the act that is unconstitutional. Let the Supreme Court decide. If you are not saying that people if are not educated and not having this knowledge, what they think is, if you protest in West Bengal in Murshidabad, can the Waqf Act change? No. So that message has to be clear and clear to the public, which is not being taken care of.
Right. All right. Now I'll come to Prasanjit. Prasanjit, what would you really say to the situation evolving in Murshidabad? Now there are various angles. People say that Trinamool Congress is just Trinamool and BJP are two sides of the same coin. They are trying to capitalize on a politics which benefits both of them. What would you really say? And do you think that these protests over Waqf bill, which have turned out to be so ugly, with three people killed, several injured, several arrested, do you think that this is a diversionary tactics?
The point about diversionary tactics is little overblown because the dismantling of the Waqf tribunal, inclusion of the non-Muslim members in the Waqf board, etc., are matters of grave contention, and this is taking away exclusively Muslims' rights over endowed properties, and this is what has triggered this protest. Now, in West Bengal, the protest has a particular local context, and the local context is created by the communal parties like BJP, who keep harping on the idea that West Bengal is becoming an Islamic state. They even call names to the chief minister by adding epithets to her name. Such communal forces have created a certain kind of an emotional outrage, and that outrage is expressed in the form of street protest. And then comes the role of police and BSF. Mindless killing of protesters has happened. Firing has happened by the police and the state forces. Now protests should have been handled in a more judicious manner. Calcutta High Court's intervention by bringing central forces undermines the authority of the state government as well. Now, state government was enough endowed and empowered to control the mobilization of mobs and mob violence. Now, this has been totally diverted towards BSF, who has entered into the scene. BSF is supposed to protect the border between Bangladesh and West Bengal. So you can see what is this diversionary tactic. And then this entire legal conundrum that has been created by the act of the parliament, which is under challenge, rightfully. It violates Article 14, Article 15, Article 25, Article 26 of the Constitution, a violation of the third segment of the Constitution concerning fundamental rights. The rights of religious minorities is supposed to be well protected under Ambedkarite constitution. It's an attack on the constitution as well. And therefore, there are justified grounds and legitimate ways of political mobilization that has happened in West Bengal, being a politically conscious state. And the violence that has come is very, very unfortunate. Certain outsiders who have come from other states are particularly responsible for creating a situation of mob violence. In the mob violence, the masses do not have much of a role. State forces, outsiders have played their role, and therefore such a situation has been created, Nilu. Yeah. So
So
this
you
much
are
from
saying
my
that this is a deliberately engineered situation. Uh, as of now, it looks like. Okay, I'll come to Ketan Jaiswal, who is the spokesperson of the West Bengal Pradesh Congress. Thank you so much, Ketan. But how do you really view this situation? Why has it really got intense? And is it because of the elections which are around the corner? And maybe Trinamool and BJP are trying to capitalize on that to polarize the voters. Is this a polarizing tactics? Yes, Ketan.
Well, well, of course. The first of all, this is a very unfortunate situation that we are witnessing in Murshidabad. Murshidabad is a district where the Muslims are in majority in that district, but it has a very secular kind of a history. If you go through the history of Murshidabad, the political history of Murshidabad, we will see that specifically that Jangipur Lok Sabha constituency in 2009, the Jangipur Lok Sabha constituency has 73% Muslim voters. But those voters have elected whom not a Muslim but a Hindu Brahmin son, our former president late Shri Pranab Mukherjee from that seat. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, just the adjacent the Lok Sabha, which is Baharampur. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, a Hindu person, was elected consecutive 5 times from a parliamentary constituency that is where Muslims are in majority. So, if we assess on that grounds, that we'll see that people of Murshidabad were never communal, were never voted for communal angle, or they were never polarized. Not in Murshidabad only, in Bengal we don't have these kind of narrative in the past, but it has entered in the Bengal through BJP, and BJP has entered in Bengal through Trinamool Congress. The Trinamool Congress has welcomed the BJP in Bengal with a red carpet. We all know Mamata Banerjee was the minister in the Bajpayee government. She has fought elections in Bengal also in alliance with the BJP. RSS has called Mamata Banerjee her RSS ki Durga. Mamata Banerjee has on various occasions has praised the RSS. And if in current situation, if we see that the dependency of the central government or the BJP has increased after the 2024 elections, where we have seen that the numbers of the BJP has decreased and the numbers of TMC in Bengal has increased. So the dependency of TMC have increased. Now, as far as the Murshidabad and other communal incidents are concerned, if we again go into the history of 2021 election, we will see that this communal politics has given dividend to both of these parties. The Trinamool Congress has increased their seats in the Vidhan Sabha. The BJP has got more benefit, was at 3, has gone to 73 in the 2021 elections, and the secular and democratic forces like the Congress and the CPM were 0. So there again, when elections are an year away from now, so they are again try to capitalize on this communal tension. And as far as the Waqf is concerned, it is quite obvious that protests will happen throughout India. It is quite often that Muslim communities and other communities like Hindu communities and other Sikh communities, other communities who is pro the constitution and who try to protect the constitutional provisions will come in protest of this work of amendment. But here the incompetence of the state police, the ignorance of the state police, or some vested interest of the Trinamool Congress led government has led this incident to go of that scale. primarily we have talks with many local residents of the Murshidabad. They said that the police were just the mute spectator in these tensions were in the primary stage. But when it was gone out of the hands of the police, then the honorable court has ordered the central forces to be deployed there. And now Mamata Banerjee is saying that we will not allow this act. These are nonsense. Three MPs of the Trinamool Congress were absent when the voting was going on against on the Waqf amendment. Same thing happened during the CAA. When the CAA was placed in the parliament, the many of the Trinamool Congress MPs were absent, and the Trinamool Congress then later walked out, did not voted against the CAA. And then in Bengal, they used to they have uh, fabricated many kinds of violences. They have Mamata Banerjee has said many things that I will not allow CAA, I will do this, I will do that. So these are all electoral strategy. These are all their vested interest for gaining in the elections. But the common people, as Mr. Arindam was saying, that the common people who has to suffer the most, and the common people are suffering. We have had talks with many local residents of Suti and Jangipur and Samsherganj. They were they're in very catastrophic situations. They're in very bad situation. But who is responsible? As our previous speaker was saying, that the law and order is a state subject. Of course it is. But when the state administration failed to do so, then the court was compelled to order the central forces, as because the people has to be saved, the law and order has to be prevailed, the situation has to be taken under control. So this is the thing that if we see the BJP and the Trinamool as the different forces, or if we are convinced with their fabricated fight, then we are living in the fool's paradise. Both of these parties are uh, at one point they are very similar on the communal point. Somebody advocates to be the masihas of the Muslim, somebody is trying to become the masihas of the Hindus, and they just with doing this they are actually diverting the vision of the public from this 26,000 students, the teachers who has been suspended from their job. So this is a very sensitive time for Murshidabad and Bengal.
Right. All right. But I'll come to Rajiv now. That do you think that BJP and Trinamool, despite knowing the fact that the case is yet to come up in the Supreme Court, we do not know what stand the Supreme Court will take. But do you think that both Trinamool and BJP can really polarize the voters to that extent that they can benefit electorally out of this? What is
Uh,
your
I,
sense?
I think I need not give any explanation which has been given by the previous speaker here. I only want to say that what Bengal thinks today, rest of the country thinks tomorrow. That age is now we are losing. The intellect of the Bengal is losing. Now the Murshidabad case has drawn the first blood. The three people have been killed from two different communities, right? And you will see that many more to come because this environment was shaped. Shaping of the environment was done, narrative was built up, everything was stage was set. That yes, now we are ready for this polarization and further polarization, right? And that's very things to be seen. There is an MLA in Murshidabad. For last 2 months, he's telling, shouting at the top of his voice, and he's saying to his people in Murshidabad district, he's saying we are 70 and they are 30, and we will kill them and throw them in the Ganges in 2 hours' time. What happens? What action we have taken against them? We have not taken any action against them. Rather, one of the minister, who is still the minister of the state government, he said that there is a mini Pakistan over here. He talks about the pan-Islamization. He said that Islam will take over the country. What we do against him? Nothing. What we are doing is we are building up a narrative after narrative after narrative. Now people are saying outsiders. Who was Mir Jafar? We did not build up the Mir Jafar. Mir Jafar was born and brought up in this Bengal. And right today, what is happening? Nobody is that MLA has been elected by the people. He's from that place. The minister is from here. All the things which we have discussed and we chronologize and pinpoint, we'll realize that everything is happening by the people over here. But we are being paid, I will say, we are being paid and fed with the black propaganda to diversify, obfuscate the thing from the real issues, and the real issue is the loss of human life. And real issue is the loss of the real job in Bengal. Real issue is the trans-border smuggling, which is so high that both the parties are benefited, this side and that side. And the matter of fact is that today the incident has taken place, which has gone beyond the control of the state police, where the BSF is drawn. The similar situation prevailed in J&K. What people are talking about? That we are building up a story, concocted story. Then J&K for them in the initial days, when Ziaul Haq was doing all this thing, was also a concocted story for them. When these hideouts are built, I challenge through your channel that let me prove them that 24th and 25th of January 2025, there were four hideouts which were discovered at Nadia. Everybody has shown it. What for that? It was not for storing the fence drill. It was for storing those grenades. It was for the AK-47 rocket launcher missiles. And it is not me who said that. The BNP in Bangladesh has said that it is shame that people sitting here, they are talking that we are talking, we are bringing the Bangladesh. They said, Amra Kolkata Dokhal Karbo 4 din, implying that we will take over the Bengal and Calcutta in 4 days' time. What is the strength which they, from where the strength they got it? They got it because they are prepared for this. They have done very systematic studies of our ethnography all along the borders, which has got a different type of people, and they are very, very happy. They are very, very happy that they will be able to do this and they will be able to carry forward their agenda. And this agenda is nothing to disestablish this country. And the first step the Bengal has taken, the local incident with international ramifications. Today we may say that the three people have been killed in Murshidabad, but all over the country, all over the world, people are watching it. Oh, look
Okay,
at this. Because of that
Rajesh,
bill, that there has been a communal disharmony in
as,
Bengal, and this is what has been read everywhere. And this is
as
just
we
the
are
start,
going
this is just the
live,
beginning.
as we are going live now, there are reports coming in that Bengal Governor C.V. Ananda Bose has sent a communique to the Ministry of Home Affairs, and he has given details of whatever the current situation in Murshidabad is prevailing. And what the sources are saying, that the communique was based on information which has been collected by the governor's core team and the details passed down to his office from the state secretariat. It is learned that communique also contains the details of the confidential communication between the governor and the chief minister Mamata Banerjee. Now, Arindam, if I may come to you, Calcutta High Court has also asked a report to be furnished by the state government and by the center. So, is this communique which has happened, between the governor and the home minister, will it help to furnish these reports then? Yes, Arindam.
Yeah, I find so because yesterday they were during the hearing, I was personally present before the Honorable High Court. I had the opportunity to be there. Two things we need to be getting clarified. It was not the petition which was the public litigation which was filed before. Before and only the district magistrate asked for the BSF to help the situation because it was going out. It was beyond the control of the police. So initially that was there. During the hearing, the state has never opposed deployment of the central forces. What the state said is that the central forces should be allowed to be utilized by the state as and when required. So the state government in this situation has never opposed that prayer of the petitioner that the central forces to be deployed. And as you have correctly said, on this arrangement is till 17th. When the 17th the court opens, because yesterday was a holiday for us, tomorrow and after tomorrow is also a local holiday in West Bengal. So on the 17th, when the court reopens, the court has categorically asked to furnish a report from the agencies of the state government and the central government as well. So this report which you are speaking now, I have no details about that, what was being circulated, a confidential report, but definitely I find the ground zero situation is not good till today. There are tensions still prevailing. The forces are trying to control it, but I suppose the High Court has given a direction, and the order clearly, categorically says the High Court cannot be silent on this. So, with the activation of this High Court order, I find the situation will come to an good. The situation will be building good. Why? Because the central force deployment was required for building the confidence of the people, both the communities. Because only one thing I need to highlight is that there are reports and there are public news is coming in that only a particular community has been targeted, but that I differ because both the communities have been targeted. It's not only that the Hindus have been targeted, the Hindus and the Muslims both have been targeted. So the foul play in it needs to be investigated and find out.
All right. Now I'll come for the concluding remarks to all of you one by one. Prasanjit, to you. So, where do you think that the situation is really headed to? Do you think that the situation will be under control? Yes, Prasanjit.
Yeah, state police has done sufficient legwork to control the situation, and the situation is getting normalized, and peace is getting restored. There is hand holding, there is bridge building between communities who have been ripped apart by external outside forces. Now, some people are trying to use the opportunity to catch fish in disturbed water by feigning a xenophobic, externalized kind of a discourse which has no place in the politics of West Bengal. West Bengal stands for very strong solidarity between Hindus and Muslims as far as Bengali community is concerned. Those who are not Bengalis in West Bengal have a problem of perception. They may perceive a different kind of a insecurity because they are carrying a discourse from elsewhere. That is a major problem in West Bengal, and this is a psychological drift. This psychological drift is creating a certain sense of insecurity in places where non-Bengali population are living. I hope West Bengal police, with the help of appropriate law and order machinery, will be also able to create a sense of security among our non-Bengali brethren. And they should not engage themselves into this kind of Hindu-Muslim kind of a division, which they often engage into using Ram Navami or certain other occasions, but then by getting mobilized. Such mobilizations and mob violence have to be brought to an end, and that is a resolve of the West Bengal government, towards which Governor and Honorable Chief Minister are working together, and it is
Okay.
for sure that normalcy will be restored by tonight in West Bengal. That's what.
Okay. Okay. Rajiv, I'm coming to you, and then I'll take the concluding comments from Ketan. Yes, over to you. Very briefly. Yes, Rajiv. Go ahead, please. You're muted.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, very humbly I submit that Bande Mataram, Janagana Mana, Dinayak, all these things, my Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, my Vivekananda, they don't require to be confined to the Bengal and Bengali mindsets. They are universal. Their, their messages are universal. My Netaji is the first general, right, who had done so much of things for our country. Do I require to repeat all these things? Does he belong to a particular community or language? Possible problem is that the frog in the well, he thinks the world is confined to that. And when there is a wool on the eyes, and when you read the propaganda, this is the Goebbelian propaganda, this is the Hitler propaganda. Those who fail to read the grains of the rice, they predict like this. They find everywhere the heat master voice. They will tell you everything about them, and they will send all the bad thing about others. This is not the message of our Swami Vivekananda. That is not the message of our Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. That is not the message of our Paramahansa. Paramahansa. This is not the message of the people who live on this soil and who studied here, who have spilled their blood over here for generations. Now, this is the people are pointing out Bairagato. That is actually a psychological propaganda which has gone into their mind. And look at this, what they speak about. What propaganda they have fallen prey to. The intellectual people of the Bengal, they talk like this. I'm sorry, I have nothing to say beyond this. I'm sorry for this.
Okay, I'll take the concluding remarks from Ketan. What would you really say now to the situation which is evolving? And do you think, as Prasanjit said, that the peace might be restored by tonight with a lot of central forces now? The court having said that please deploy the forces. So, can we expect some normalcy in Murshidabad?
Yes, we are expecting because normalcy has to be restored. These things cannot continue for so long. But the thing is that it has prevailed or it has triggered as because the state machinery, the intelligence has drastically failed. Or if it has not failed, then it was intentionally the state government or the police has intentionally to benefit the Trinamool Congress in the upcoming elections or to create the political division. They have has let it happen. These two things can happen. Either there was a failure or it was intentionally done. Second thing is that, of course, the Rajyapal, Honorable Rajyapal has sent the reports. Honorable Rajyapal has talked with the CM yesterday and with our Sri Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary also last yesterday about the situation of the Murshidabad. But the thing is that the Bahiragoto and the outsider thing is that there are so many similarities. You'll find everywhere where similarities between the RSS, the BJP, and the Trinamool Congress. Like RSS also always try to find anything on which they can divide people, like on the language, on their geographical location, on their religion, on their caste, on their creed, anything. So Trinamool is just similar. As I told you, they are the same thing. They have the same modus operandi of politics, divisive politics. So, like as to distract from this or to disown this failure, they have planted a new theory of Bohiragoto and all things. But the thing is that the responsibility of the whose responsibility is the law and order is of the state machinery. If there were any outsiders were involved, is my honorable speaker, previous speaker, is aware of the thing. Why the police was not aware of the thing, and why our honorable the previous speaker has not informed the police that these Bohiragotos. The Bohiragoto is a word which means outsiders. That these particular outsiders has created this all these nuisance. Prosecute them. So the thing is that there are many excuses that they can give, and the High Court has ordered because the lives of the citizens matters. The honorable court has observed that this police administration is incompetent. They are not able to save the lives of the people. So that is why the central forces have been deployed, and this will also boost the morale, or the also will build confidence in the public, as because the people of Bengal has absolutely no faith in the state police. Like the Bengal situation is such that everything is being directed by the court, because there is no law, no rule of law in Bengal. And I'll give you a small example in 10 seconds. Every opposition party, whether it be CPM, be Congress, be BJP, any opposition party, if has to do a political program or a protest or anything, they'll have to write two letters here. One to the local police or the local administration, and they, in the meantime, they also draft a letter to the court for the permission, because they know that the state government will not allow you to do any political activity. So this is the situation in Bengal. So if my conclusion is that the TMC and BJP both are involved in this communal politics, as because they has already have taken the dividend in the 21 elections, in the 24 elections, and they are trying to capitalize on this for the 2026 election. But the people of Bengal have now understood that these two parties are not fit for the ideological or the intellectual property, the intellectual legacy which Bengal holds, like this Swami Vivekananda, who has taught us about the universal brotherhoods. He
Right.
said, "My brothers and sisters of America." And today, some people are saying like Bohiragot and other thing of the same country. If someone is from even some other state, he's not
Right.
Bohiragot in the country.
All right.
Bengal
So
has a big heart.
you Ketan, you
Bengalis has big hearts. There
okay.
is no space of
All right.
uh, narrow mindset in Bengal.
All right, all right. So I think we'll just have to wait and watch how things unfold over there. But in the meanwhile, after 16, Supreme Court is set to hear the matter on the Waqf bill, and so many petitions have already been filed. So we'll have to wait and watch. But highly unfortunate, three lives having been lost, 150 people arrested, vehicles being torched. And the big question is, was this needed? Was this required? Just think about those families who've lost their near and dear ones. Did they deserve this just because of the protest of the Waqf Amendment Bill? I leave the viewers with this question. Thank you so much, Arindam Das, Prasanjit Biswas, Rajesh Srivastav, Ketan Jaiswal. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you.